A very warm welcome. You are just on time for the Week in Focus right here on Lookup TV. And today on the show, we are doing a weekly review of events that have happened throughout the week. And first on the list is the search for the Chief Justice. 5 out of the 10 panelists, 5 out of the 10 people who are contending to be Chief Justice have already gone before the JSC, and the interviews are ongoing, this being the first week, and the interviews will be running all through to the 23rd of April. We'll also be looking at inside politics. The Deputy President did an interview, and we want to look at some of the things that he mentioned, and of course also looking at the potential collisions, and the indoor, behind closed doors discussions among politicians. With me on set is Callistus Wafula of J Network and political analyst as well.
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are looking for someone to replace former Chief Justice David Maraga.
Yes.
And those are very big shoes to be filled. He was popular among the people,
Yes.
with one of the landmarks
Yes.
being the cancellation of the 2017 elections.
Yes.
So this week we have had 5 judges who have gone before the Judicial Service Commission
Yes.
for the same. So what do you think about the process?
The process has taken off, and I expect to see so many people, those that are eyeing for that position, to have understanding of what is supposed to be done at the judiciary to improve our judiciary, and also to help this country build institution. You know, judiciary is very important. You cannot build any institution without the input of judiciary. Therefore, so far I've seen the people that have appeared on the interview, they are not embraced because they are complaining about the issue of resource. Mm-hmm. We are looking for a Chief Justice who is going to use the meager resources that we have to implement or to execute his mandate as the Chief Justice of the country. We do not want to have someone who will lead us into complaints, then we end up failing to perform our duties as a country. Mm-hmm. Yes, I think that is what I can say. But I will be interested to know the person who is coming with the different expertise to improve on what Maraga has done for the country. Okay. The Maraga did a very good thing to dismiss a presidential election that we have seen at least. But they have not done anything as it was proposed by the Chief Justice or the Supreme Court. Mm-hmm. The government has not implemented anything because they were supposed to revisit the issues of IEBC to ensure that they instill trust in the commissioners that will be handling our election in future. They have done nothing. What we are saying, we have to get a Chief Justice who is competent enough, is going to help us also deal with the problem that we have had in the past.
Okay.
Yes.
And one of the issues that is cutting across most of these interviews is seeking a Chief Justice that is going to exercise fairness.
Yes.
So in terms of the cases themselves, in terms of distribution
Yes.
of resources.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Chief Justice is very critical for our country. Looking at the Constitution and the role of Chief Justice, I think we need someone who is strong. We need someone who will have an independent decision in most of the issues that we will have, because the role of judiciary is to check on the government so that the executive does not have excess of power to the people. Therefore, we need a Chief Justice who is strong. In terms of sharing resources, we had proposed, our team, through the proposal of Ondoa Karama Constitution Amendment Bill, we had proposed that a creation of a finance autonomy in the Constitution. a certain percentage, let's say, of our budget should set aside for the judiciary, so that the executive does not have that mandate, or does not have a means to kill the judiciary. Right now, our judiciary is depending on the executive. When they want to do something maybe that needs resources, they have to get it from the government. And if anything that they are doing maybe to strengthen the institution, or to something that will go against the executive, definitely the government will deny them resources. So therefore, the conversation we had, even with the PPI, they failed to put that a requirement in the constitutional amendment, so that we protect our judiciary. The problem we have in our country is that nobody is talking the truth. All these people, they just want to look for an opportunity. Even those who are eyeing for Chief Justice position, they're just seeking for an opportunity to also take advantage of the meager resources that are there for themselves, not for the benefit of the people.
And looking at one of the candidates,
yes,
who appeared in the courts, that was Thursday.
Yes.
He is Justice Njagi Marete.
Yeah.
And he has had, there have been 9 motions to remove him from office.
Yes.
So 9 motions, and yet here he is running for the top office in the judicial system, running for Chief Justice. So what does this exactly say for us as people?
I think if they have failed to remove him, he has all the right as the church, one of the churches of our country, to aspire for that position. What I fail to understand, if they have tried to remove him, what has stopped them to remove him?
He survived all those petitions.
Because they didn't have enough evidence to support whatever they were doing. We want to have a conversation that if that is the best Chief Justice, he should tell us the kind of things that he wants to do for us. Right now, I've told you that I've seen those who have appeared. They don't impress me, because none of them have talked about issues of the miscarriage of justice, issues of having case idling at the courts. Most of them, they are just complaining about money, the support they need to get from the government. They don't have any other alternative. You know, we cannot just complain about money. As a Chief Justice, you must have your way of working.
But if one of the things that the former Chief Justice David Maraga decried was the frustration was about resources, so the allocation of resources for the judiciary.
I can tell you, all our courts, they operate from 8 a.m. to 1, latest 2. If we say that this is a serious country and we need to take issues of justice seriously, then our court should operate from 8 to at least 4 or 5. That is possible. I want someone who will come with such a kind of strategy to help us improve in our judiciary and help us deal with the cases that are idling at the court. But you cannot tell me that resources is always the problem. Just look at our government, our parliament. They normally go to a recess like 4 months. When they are when they come back, or when they are on session, they only operate from 8 to 2, or latest 3. So what we are saying, we have allowed ourselves to do things that cannot help the country.
So you're saying that there is more than just resources. There's so many other things that can be fixed at the judiciary?
Yes. We can even have 24 hours. 24 hour working programs. If we think that we have limited churches, but I still believe if we can just extend the time from 8 to 5, our judiciary will be able to, the current judiciary and the current capacity they have, they will be able to deliver justice for the people of Kenya.
Okay,
Yes.
and we saw Justice Koome, she spoke about the 2/3 gender rule.
Yes.
Former Chief Justice David Maraga advised the president to disband the parliament
Yes.
for failing to implement the 2/3 gender rule.
Yes.
So moving forward, the next Chief Justice, looking at the panel of the people who are in line to be Chief Justice, do we see this being a possibility?
Now, that is what we call focusing on useless talk, because you cannot appoint a chief justice on basis of gender. The only basis you can base on is the competence and the expertise, maybe experience, and the knowledge, what he has convinced you that he want to implement at the judiciary.
I am talking about the 2/3 gender rule that Parliament did not implement.
Yes.
So David Maraga wanted the president to disband Parliament, to
Yes.
dissolve Parliament. So for the next Chief Justice, that is one, like the first job on the table
Yes.
to be done, because if 2/3 gender rule was not implemented during Chief Justice David Maraga's tenure, then we're expecting it to be done for the next, in the term of the next Chief Justice.
That is a crisis, and I don't think the Chief Justice that we are going to appoint is going to solve that crisis, because even Maraga, he took all time during his, he had time to have advised the president to dissolve the parliament, but he didn't do so.
So
In fact,
is there no way to implement the 2/3 gender rule?
Currently it is impossible. It is almost impossible to implement 2/3 gender rule based on the current
BBI
based on the
going
current
to-
situation. With the BBI is talking about a lot of nonsense, because if you cannot implement 2/3 gender rule on the basis of political seats only, maybe if you talk about 2/3 gender rule, it should apply in all the institutions we have, in all it should cut across the board, so that even the employment of public service should also apply. Therefore, what I'm trying to tell you is that BBI is trying to sanitize our problem by proposing some funny proposals about the 2/3 gender rule, how to bring inclusivity. There's no possible way we can achieve 2/3 gender rule in the name of fixing political positions and maybe judiciary, just sanitizing with a few things. If you want to implement 2/3 gender rule, let us implement it across the board. Let all the teachers, all civil servants be employed on basis of 2/3 gender rule, which is not possible. We believe people go to school and they acquire different skills and experience. Therefore, to employ someone, maybe like a doctor, will you employ a doctor on the basis of gender, or on basis of qualification that he has attained or she has attained?
But you know, that's not exactly how the 2/3 gender rule is looked at.
Yes.
Because women were disadvantaged just from the start, that men are more in leadership and political positions.
Yes.
But the voice of women is just as important. So there's already that imbalance.
Let me now explain to you. Women were disadvantaged long time ago. The time we used to give education to men, then we ignore the girls.
So that is the gap
about-
that is supposed to be filled.
No, there is no gap. But currently, even ladies are more learned than men. find out, do research. It is almost impossible to get a lady who cannot write or read.
True.
But it is
So why the 2/3 gender rule then? Because the
Two-thirds gender
representation
rule.
of women is clearly not enough in positions of power, in positions of influence.
You see, if you want to support women, and I can tell you this, and this I took my time, I shared with the task force, but they were interested with the only views from certain quarters of people. I told the task force for BBI that the only possible way to support a woman in Kenya or elsewhere is by giving him resources. If we think women are disadvantaged, they cannot compete favorably with men in any political contest, then the only possible way you can support these women is by giving them maybe resources to campaign. But you cannot create so many positions, duplication of jobs, then at this country that most of people are poor, just because we are taking more of our resources to service recurrent expenditure. Right now, our president is borrowing to pay even to pay salaries. Even our money that we are generating in terms of revenue, it is not enough to pay the current government all the current
So you're saying the 2/3 gender is an issue right now?
That is an issue, and if they want to help a woman compete with others politically, either politically or academically, they need to avail resources to support women.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we can say, if you have attained a degree, if you are a woman and you have successfully attained your first degree, maybe a master degree, the postgraduate studies, you'll do the fee that you are going to pay there. Maybe it is you are going to pay low. How can I call it? Little amount of money as compared with other people. And if it is about politics, they need to support you. Once you have won the nomination, the government should support you to campaign if they want to support women. But let them not create a position whereby women will be competing amongst themselves. That is nonsensical.
Okay, fine.
It does not
let's
give
move forward.
any value.
Okay.
Yes.
And so far, there have been 2 women who have gone before the JSC panel.
Yes.
There was Professor Kameri Mbote
Yes.
and Justice Kome.
Yes.
So, again, can we have a woman for a Chief Justice?
Yes, we can have. Once she convinced the GSC and the general public that she is competent. Even as we are currently watching that process, and eventually you will see so many Kenyans.
So Kenyans are on the panel as well,
yes.
vetting.
People are watching. The person who will make sense, everybody will see. We will not allow anyone to play politics with this position of GSC, because there are some other people that will be interviewed later, and I know those are the people who are in this government are waiting to stick on. But we are watching to see who is this best person who is going to help us also deal with the problem at the judiciary.
Okay.
Maraga was unable because he was used also to do a lot of politics and share everything with the ODM. So he didn't advise the president. He used to do politics, because there is no given time that we have seen Maraga claiming that I advised the president to do ABCD, just like William Ruto said yesterday, that he used to tell the president a number of things, but it seems president has decided to listen to some other people. Yes.
Okay. So now for the panelist, what do you think about maybe the kind of questions, because it is a very intense process, a myriad of questions,
the kind of
even
question,
personal, yes.
The kind of question we expect, we want to know miscarriage of justice that we have had since independence, how the Chief Justice is going to help us deal with the same, because that is not about money now. We are talking about the case that has been heard and determined. And people faced a lot of injustices. I know there are so many people, there are so many complaints. How is he going to help us deal with these issues of miscarriage of justice?
Okay.
2, we are complaining about the resources and personnel at the judiciary. How is he going to utilize the available resources we have and the available personnel we have at the judiciary to implement his role as Chief Justice of this country?
Mm-hmm.
We cannot cry fall of money every time when we are faced with the challenges. No, should not be the problem. This is the way our MPs used to cry that they want to get some money to do development. Right now, all of them are just squandering the money. So we want a Chief Justice who is going to help us deal with the problems that we are seeing at the judiciary. Therefore, the question that we should ask is the ones that I've told you.
Okay, and the record of the...
Yes, record.
Yes, the record of the candidates who are vying. So looking at, just comparing it to the former Chief Justice, he had a very clean record.
Yes.
And in terms of no involvement in fraud, allegations, and such kind of
but
things.
He didn't help us.
True, but I'm just saying from the people who are vying right now, are we going to get a record just as clean? Because if there is a clean record, then we are more positive that there are no self-interests. So then the GSA is going to run in order.
I think we are not looking for clean records.
Mm-hmm.
We are looking for someone who has an idea of what Chief Justice should do and help improve what we have had.
But at the same time, a clean record is...
If you look at the records, some people have got good records, but they are very incompetent. I can give you an example.
But they all have to be factored in.
I want to give you an example which is practical.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you see the record of Kalonzo Musyoka. Kalonzo Musyoka has got a very good records as compared to William Ruto. But in terms of competence and delivery, you cannot compare Kalonzo Musyoka with William Ruto. William Ruto, when he used to be a cabinet secretary, there's one time he was rated as the best minister in Kibaki government. After he being fought by the Rairas and other people, but he emerged as the best.
Okay, so you're trying to
Given
say
that
there is a clean record, but then there is competence.
The record
again.
says
Mm-hmm.
William Ruto is more corrupt than Kalonzo Musyoka. But can you compare Kalonzo with William Ruto?
Okay, so you're just trying to say that competence is different. You can have a good record,
yes,
but with no competence.
We are not looking for good records. We are not looking for an angel to lead the judiciary. In fact, we are looking for that person who is going to make the life of people difficult. Right now, all politicians are stealing our money. I fail to understand why MPs have been spending money since 2002 when Kibaki introduced CTF, and none of the MPs in jail as a result of him being squandered the public money.
Mm-hmm.
So this one tells you that there are some other people who are running away, doing corruption, and they got scot-free. So we are looking for someone who is going to make the life of these people difficult.
Okay,
we want a GSU who is going to assure us that he is going to send to jail even the big fish that are squandering our money.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot tell me that since 2013, when we formed the government of 47 counties, you can't tell me that all these governors, none of them has has ever involved in corruption.
So then, more than
This
an
one-
arrest, then there should be
We sh-
follow up with the prosecution.
If we could be having a working judiciary, even the president should not be borrowing, because most of these people that have taken our money need to be sent to jail. Then we recover some of the money. So we are failing to do the right thing.
Okay.
Then
so
we start complaining. Then we go out there borrowing money. We bring here people just loot. Then we continue with the same song. So we are looking for a chief justice who is going to make the life of people very difficult, and
okay.
especially politicians.
And before we take a break,
Yes.
the Chief Justice will come in at a time when it's very close to elections. And we know with elections, then come petitions. So we're looking at a Chief Justice who's going to be ready and very soon
Yes.
get into the electioneering period.
Yes.
Mhm.
I think on that basis, the chief justice, we cannot say that we are going to get a chief justice. We are going to ensure that we have a credible election. What will give us credible election is IEBC. So as much as we focus on chief justice to have a competent person, again, we should understand that we must restructure IEBC before 2022 election.
Mhm. So there are many things involved.
Yes.
Okay, we are taking a short break here on the Week in Focus, but we'll be back to talk more about inside politics. Don't go too far. Welcome back. You are watching the Week in Focus right here on Look Up TV, and today on the show we are talking about the search for the next Chief Justice, which is an ongoing process all the way through to April 23rd. And of course, inside politics, Deputy President was on an interview yesterday, and a myriad of issues came about on the vaccine, coalition, and many other things. And we want you to be part of the conversation. SMS number is 20374. With me on set is Calista Zafula from J Network, who is a political analyst.
Yes.
Yes, and now let's get into the politics.
Yeah.
As much as there are no gatherings, politics is still ongoing. Behind closed doors, there are
Yes.
meetings, there are potential coalition parties that are going to be formed. So yesterday, the Deputy President was in an interview in one of the local stations, and he said a number of things.
Yes.
But first of all, I want us to talk about the vaccine.
Yes.
And he took a vaccine. He said he was not involved when the cabinet, the president and the cabinet were going to be vaccinated, that someone forgot to include him in the vaccination day and the date and the time
Yes.
that he's being vaccinated.
Yes.
So it is clear that, of course, there is a rift between the president and his deputy president.
Yes.
So again, even on the issue of vaccine, he speaks a different language. What are your thoughts on the same?
I think the deputy president made it clear that he support the vaccination process, and therefore we just I think we just need to leave it at that point,
Mhm.
because the bottom line is that he support the process. I think people expected him to oppose or to say something different, which he didn't. In my view, the vaccination process, I think in Kenya everything is a scandal. Even this vaccination is a scandal, and I think, like for me as a Kenyan who is not involved in anything to do with the Minister of Health or the procurement of the same vaccination, I think I just need to say that I have everything to worry, because this is the government that is full of scandal. I think we should be the last people to focus on issues of vaccination. first of all, the Minister of Health has not assured the Kenyans that this vaccine is perfect.
But there is no perfect vaccine across the world.
That is the reason I'm telling you.
Mhm.
It is not supposed to be our priority at the moment. Those people who have manufactured the vaccine, we want let them test, let them use that vaccine. In the meantime, we can just use mask. Let the government give people mask and try to follow the regulation that they have put in place. But encouraging people to receive vaccine, me as an activist, I will tell Kenyans to wait. We want to see the effect of the same vaccine and the procurement process, because I do not trust the Minister of Health. The way they have been meandering around with the issues of COVID-19 funds, and everything has left to rest is like nothing happened. I have not seen this government sending people to jail or arresting people who are involved in KEMSA procurement of fake masks and the repackaging of Jakama masks.
Mhm.
All those people have been left scot-free, and therefore we cannot pretend. Unajua, the worst thing in life is that you pretend to be doing something that is not right. I think I should tell this government that whatever they have done for us in regards to COVID-19 related issues, it is ridiculous, and that they deserve condemnation of highest level.
Okay, so what the Deputy President was saying yesterday, he was advising the
Yes.
government, which he is part of anyway,
Yes.
that we should be open to bringing all kinds of vaccines that have been
Yes.
approved by the WHO. And
Yes.
this is contrary to, of course, what the Interior Minister Matiang'i
Now,
mentioned,
now,
and as well as the CS Health.
now,
And they said that they have banned all vaccines
yes.
that have not come through the government. So no private investors,
Vaccination.
yes, are going to come in.
That is, I think that is the best way to control that thing. But again, I can tell you, the Deputy President disclosed a very important information for us as members of public to understand the kind of confusion we are having in this government and the kind of disagreement they are having with the president. I want to tell you that I listened to Deputy President, and I was very much impressed with his interview, because he said nothing but all the truth. What I want to tell you is that the problem of this country is that when politicians are united, you may end up hearing nothing. But there is a lot of confusion, a lot of things that they are doing that are not right. Right now, if Raila Odinga could not be part of this government, we could have had a lot of issues. And this one tells you that why, when all of them, they have decided to join this government, the likes of Kalonzo, Musalia, Wetangula, these small politicians who are supposed to put this government on check, they have failed to do it, to perform their roles. They have decided to join the government and now glorifying everything that the government is doing. Deputy President has assumed the position of the Deputy President, and also at the same time position of oppositions, to help public understand what is transpiring in the current government. And I think that is a shame for our politicians, our senior politicians, who have decided to stoop too low, so that they are taken to do some small activities in this government, and that they forget their roles of putting this government on check.
Okay.
Raila Odinga himself, he misled his followers, and he has lost popularity. I can tell you, Raila Odinga used to enjoy popularity in Western region. He used to enjoy in Kwambani and even in Coast. Right now, if you do research, if you do any symbol demographic research, you will find out that Raila Odinga has lost popularity with his people, because the things that he was complaining about when he joined this government, he stopped complaining about corruption, he stopped complaining about everything. It's like everything was sorted, and therefore he's not a person you can trust. We just respect him as any other elder in Kenya who has been in a senior position, but right now he does not appeal to the people the way he used to do before 2017.
Okay, and let's talk about the Jubilee Party.
Yes.
And the Deputy President mentioned that it actually breaks his heart that there are plans to oust him from the Jubilee coalition,
Yes.
being that they formed it at a time when there was a lot of ethnicity in the country and a lot of animosity, and around the time when Deputy President and the President were at ICC, the
Yes.
cases for the post-election violence of 2007. And he went on to say that UDA is a sister party to Jubilee.
Yes.
So he's still part of Jubilee,
Yes.
but if it doesn't work out, then UDA is going to be the next vehicle out of that. What are your thoughts on this thing?
I think I was a Jubilee youth leader, and when it comes to matters of Jubilee, I understand more. I want to tell you the way they formed Jubilee, it has everything to worry, because even at that time when we used to arrange for nomination and campaign, we used to get instruction from different line, the line of president and the line of deputy president. There are some things the president could plan through his people, then the deputy president come to change everything. And I used to work in the most of things that the deputy president were proposing is what used to be implemented. I think it was is a came of trying to fool him so that he does not understand what will happen in the future. One, they failed to put interim officials in place. They allowed Uhuru Kenyatta to appoint Raphael Tuju and the likes of Murade, Monica as secretary of Jubilee Party. Then everything were organized in a very symbolistic way. Just on it was just like a theory. They were trying to imagine things that this one will do it in future, but it was a problem, because if they were very serious about the future of this Jubilee Party, then they could have allowed to have even election. Jubilee has no elected officials. All these officials are appointees of the president, and the deputy president made a mistake by allowing himself to be subjected to such a kind of leadership. Right now, Raphael Tuju does not seem to value deputy president. Therefore, he need to focus much in building UDA without fear of any contradiction, because if we spend a lot of time focusing on what Jubilee will be doing, Jubilee has nothing to do with deputy president. Most of people are currently the officials of Jubilee. They are just appointees of the president. They take orders from him, and if by accident we pass the BBI, the president still will have a chance to contest.
Okay, can we then say that the divisions in the Jubilee Party, which is the ruling party right now in the country, that those divisions are the reason why the large debts and the large borrowing that we're borrowing right now?
The large borrowing is as a result of this expensive government. Because one, and Uhuru Kenyatta is aware, he is the President of the Republic of Kenya. He took over from Kibaki when we used to have a recurrent expenditure of 800 billion. Right now we are having 800 billion. Right now we are having a current expenditure of almost $1 trillion. Therefore, what it means is that Uhuru Kenyatta's government is more expensive than the Kibaki government. Then when we started talking about the conversation about the BBI, it was about punguza mzigo, lowering the cost of running this government, so that we get a lot of resources available to do development. But they decided to do the opposite. Instead now, you see, to that gender rule, inclusivity, we want everybody to be in the government. We do not want to have a violence after election. Those are just useless talk. Then they created another problem of having a bloated executive and a bloated parliament, whereby we have like 700 MPs. If we are having like 400 MPs, and at the during the last 10 years, there are so many MPs in that parliament. They have never even spoken. Even just maybe the last time they talked is when they were being sworn in, because that number is big. How will you ensure that you represent your people if you are having like 400 MPs? That is like a school, a primary school, whereby kids will be converging and doing playing around. So the conversation about constitution amendment is what makes me feel very disappointed with this government, because Uhuru Kenyatta should have led us into pushing for a constitutional amendment to reduce political positions, to reduce some of the, even scrapping off some of the counties. People had expected such a kind of things.
But is that our biggest issue?
Yes.
The number of members of parliament, is that the biggest issue?
That is the biggest issue, because this member of parliament, they are also spending CTF. They have also, because of CTF and because of devolution with the county resources, this government and the judiciary have failed to fight corruption successfully. Because fighting a politician is not easy. Conflict of interest. An MP is supposed to do. The role of MP is 3. One is legislation, oversight, and representation. All these other roles that they have created is just a conflict of interest and of their jobs. So what I'm trying to tell you is that when we move our resources into the hands of politicians, even governors are not supposed to be elected. They're supposed to be appointed. If we were to look into competence and to be fair to ourselves as people who are paying taxes, you want your money to be spent in the right way. A politician who is contesting for the seat, let's say he has a degree, because the constitution says that the requirement is that you have a degree. Yeah. Any degree, whether it's a mechanical engineering degree or a medicine degree, you just need to have a degree, and then you contest for a political seat. That is wrong. We are getting everything wrong, and this politician want us to continue sleeping so that they continue taking advantage of our resources. The issue of water fund, if they want to create water fund with more than 3,000 MCS, that one will mean even fighting corruption will not be possible. Where will be the courts to prosecute these people, given that the other crimes, domestic crimes, remains constant? How are we going to deal with the issues of corruption? So we want to encourage corruption so that even the chief magistrate courts will start now receiving some cash from MCS in the name of they have looted water fund. I want a conversation whereby people will focus much on how to secure resources, not to focus much on how to spread resources so that tukipoteza pesa nobody cares. Yes. Okay, so
as we continue debunking what the deputy president said,
yes,
he owned up to some of the misgivings of the Jubilee government.
Yes.
That there are some areas that he accepts they should have done better as a government.
Yes.
But he still says that Jubilee was meant to tackle issues, but suddenly there are plans and plots, like people like he accused Murathe of being drunk and disorderly. But he is part of that Jubilee government. So then can we say the Jubilee party, the coalition, was formed on bases that were maybe, trying to escape the ICC?
Yes.
So then the foundation was weak and purely for interests, and that's why it did not work out.
Uhuru Kenyatta was a very competent president. Even in 2013, I supported him fully. But the way he changed, I don't know. I don't know where the rain started beating them. But I know very well that Jubilee has not implemented their manifesto. They lied on us in 2013, in 2017 the same. Nothing they have done. Creating jobs is zero. They have created 0 jobs. Right now, Nyashuka company have dismissed over 800 employees, because it's like now that company is now is nowhere now to be seen, because those were the few employees that were left. Just some few days ago, they sent away over 800 employees. What I'm trying to say that we have to get priorities right. I heard the deputy president talking about industries. We cannot talk about this thing just on theory or just fooling people. He need to tell us if ODM have disrupted their activities. He need to tell us what they achieved in 2013, from 2013 to 2016. Because if we're looking at whatever they have done, maybe they saw what Kibaki did with the Thika Road. Then they started imagining that the economy is about the roads. You cannot construct a road like the Mombasa, the airport road to Westland. They are spending over 60 billion on that road. If you do mathematics, if this government were interested in supporting the people, they need to have revived some of the industries that have collapsed. Some of the public companies that are viable need to be revived by this government to create jobs and also to enable them pay the current the national debt that we are facing. You cannot borrow money to construct a road. Maybe Uhuru, if he could be borrowing to build industries and create jobs, create more revenues, that one will help him repay the debt. But it's like he's doing BR. We are going to have so many flyovers in this country. We are going to have some electricity connected everywhere, but there is no economic activities in the country. We need to balance the 3 economic infrastructure. 1 is industry, 2 water, then there is power and road.
Okay.
Those are main infrastructure.
I want us to move on because we are almost coming to an end. So the question of collisions.
Yes.
There were rumors going on. We know the deputy president met Oparanya.
Yes.
That was last week. And so there was a possibility of Ruto-Raila collision. Do you think that's a possibility? Of course, the deputy president said they have not been in talks, but he has recently fondly spoken of the former prime minister. So is this a possibility?
I cannot dismiss the possibility of the two working together, but what I can tell you, when they work together, they will lose. The kind of damages, the kind of damages they have caused to each other, it is irreparable. One, ODM have been on forefront fighting deputy president in the name of he is a conman. He is the person who has been looting this country. They have been seeing him as a thief, the only thief we have in the government. On the other hand, the deputy president has been in forefront fighting Raila as the mukanga, the wizard, the person that has the spirit that cannot help this country. What I can tell you, if William Ruto want to succeed, he need to look for small politicians. The small politicians like Musalia Mudavadi, the Wetangula, the Kalonzo.
But isn't
Those are
politics
small
a game of
politicians.
numbers?
Because, yes, if you get Kalonzo, you will get Kamba on board. That one you can take on to the bank. If you get Wetangula, Wetangula can give you reasonable votes from Trans Nzoia or Bungoma. But that one can only happen if Muhisa Kitui not be contesting. Because I know if Muhisa will contest, then rule out Bungoma and Trans Nzoia.
Okay,
And
so
also in the Kakamega. That one, most of the counties in Western will support him definitely. What I'm trying to tell you is that Deputy President can work well with the people who are these small people, not the Raila. If he get united with the Raila, most of people will fear their coalition.
but don't they?
They
don't
will
have
just
the
make
numbers?
noise, but they will not win. In fact, if they want to make one Kenya strong, let them unite with the Raila. If he get united with the Raila, even Kikuyus will start fearing deputy. They will not trust him. You cannot go around talking about the evil of this person. Then you, all of a sudden, you come around telling us.
But that is
how
what.
is-
But that is what characterizes
That's-
the kind of politics that is done
No,
in Kenya.
that is not the
But
kind
now,
of
because
politics.
we really have to conclude. So, coalition parties coming together at this time, even before we know if the BBI is going to head
win
to a
or not.
referendum or not. So, is it too early for coalition
It is premature.
governments?
Those who have already disclosed their alliance, they are just joking. They cannot survive to 2022.
Because we really don't know the eventuality
Even
of affairs as of right
Just
now.
the other day you see Gideon Moi, you saw Gideon Moi with the Raila Odinga. It's like now the Standard did a story whereby maybe Gideon Moi talked something with the Raila. Then he leaked to the media about the demands that Wetangula had under Musalia.
Okay.
What I can tell you, Gideon Moi is a very important person. He's a very important player because of resources. The resources of Moi is with Gideon Moi. But the problem with Gideon Moi is not a giver.
Okay,
He
so
want to behave as-
collisions, about collisions, this
Yes.
is what I was asking.
About
So
coalition.
collisions, is it premature?
It is premature and it will not survive.
Okay.
The best coalition will come some few months, like this, 3 to 2 months to election.
So after we maybe know the fate of the building bridges and initiative.
And they are doing coalition on the basis of what? Because looking at one Kenya, they are just agendaless. If you ask me what Musalia stands for, I cannot even tell you. If you ask me what Kalonzo is pushing for as a presidential candidate, I cannot be able to tell you. Same
Okay.
to Kalonzo or to Wetangula and to some other candidates who are aspiring to. And I want to tell you, if there is any candidate that is support this government fully, that is a conman or a con lady. Because there is no possible way you can support the government that is persecuting injustice against the people. We are having COVID-19. This government has decided to
Very
shut
briefly.
down people's business. You know, they have sent more than 2 million people jobless around in Nairobi, Machakos, Kiambu.
The 5 red zones.
These people have sent people home. They are now jobless and they don't care. If you look at the kind of social distancing they are talking about, you cannot social distance people or close clubs and bars and hotels and allow people to scramble around in the marketplaces or to the kind of curfew that the president had proposed of 8.
We really
8
have to
AM.
conclude. We really have to conclude.
Now, tell me, if we are forced people to be at home by 8, and they are scrambling, you see them lining up at the bus stations, lining up to waiting
get
for
home,
cars because they want to reach home before the curfew. You are causing these people to scramble around, there's no social distance, but you have closed the bar in the name of achieving social distance. That we are not able to achieve social distance in a club, in a hotel. I think what we are trying to do in the name of fighting COVID-19 is not it's not right. It is just based on assumption.
Okay.
And we want to create a picture whereby the other international community will see us as if we are fighting COVID and there is COVID here in Kenya, so that they can even look for more grants and borrowing.
Thank you for being part of this
Yes.
conversation. We have come to the end of the Week in Focus right here on Look Up TV, and today on the show we have been talking about the search for the next Chief Justice, and of course inside politics, the many coalition parties, the sentiments of the Deputy President, and the coalition governments in the making. I am Nancy Nalima, and the sign language interpreter has been Josephine Ouko. Thank you for watching.